Oh, hi, Mark. Alright, so the first question on everyone's minds is he wearing pants? I know. I bet that's usually the first question on your minds. And I'm not. This time. I usually am, but I don't feel like wearing pants. I don't feel like it right now. Therefore, I won't. Deal with it. I'm sorry for the way I am. I woke up not too long ago. Kind of went to sleep. Well, definitely went to sleep late. I just woke up not too long ago. But anyway, so I'm back for another shelf by shelf, but this one's gonna play out a little differently because, as you guys know, as I told you guys on the last shelf by shelf, my collection was kind of in a transition period where all the stuff over there is going to end up in black shelves right here over my TV. And that has happened. As you'll notice, that shelf has significantly less stuff on it than I have in my horror collection. I mean, realistically, all that shelf is now is that shelf is Blu-rays and that shelf is Blu-rays. They're not horror Blu-rays. Then that shelf is some of my box sets. And so, I have moved my entire horror collection over here. And so that's kind of screwed up my shelf by shelf. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything from House on Haunted Hill / Last Man on Earth, which is the last movie that I talked about last time, or like the last combo that I talked about last time, and I'm gonna take every movie from there on. Well, not on, because that spans all the way over there. That would be a lot of movies. Alright, Lucy. Go on, honey. I'm gonna go shut my door. Okay. I didn't want animals walking in while I was doing this. I feel like I'd get distracted. I mean, I get distracted enough with Lucio in here. For those of you who haven't met Lucio yet, that's Lucio. And I do get distracted with him in here. Especially since he's a pug and he makes all his little pug noises. But, anyway, so I'm going to do until the end of that shelf, which is only about little less than half of that shelf. And then I'm actually going to do what is basically the next shelf, just for the sake of it being a little longer, so I don't have to make, just a dedicated video for this like little tiny chunk of this shelf. So anyway, I'm just gonna go through them now. First up here we have Howl. And I do apologize, guys. All the titles are going to be backwards because I have to have my camera facing me. I have to have, the screen camera on, because if I don't, then essentially I can't tell if it's recording or not, and that's a problem for me. Anyway, Howl. Howl's pretty good. I've only seen it once, but it is a pretty good werewolf movie from what I can remember. Definitely worth the watch if you haven't seen it. It's kind of set on a train. Definitely an interesting take on the werewolf movie, kind of a contained sort of movie. Child's Play and The Howling. I actually have Child's Play over there in one of my box sets, but this is the only edition of The Howling I own. It'll probably be the only edition I ever own. Because I'm not actually huge on The Howling. I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for that, but I honestly, genuinely believe The Howling is a little overrated. Most of this film is uninteresting. And then by the time that cool werewolf stuff starts happening, in my opinion, I kind of lost interest. And I don't know, I'm not huge on The Howling. I gotta give it another watch. I've only seen it once, but the one time I did see it, wasn't big on it. The Human Centipede 2. Yes, I own this movie. I don't own the first one or the third one. I should get the first one eventually, but not the third one. I'm just not interested in seeing that film. But Human Centipede 2, honestly, it's a very good, very unique film. Probably not the popular opinion. It is vile, I will say that. This is one of the most vile movies I own. Probably the most, well, no, because I own Cannibal Holocaust. But either way, this is a terribly vile movie. Really nasty stuff there. However, it is good. You gotta be objective here, it's good. The Hunt, I've never seen it. Again, guys, some of these movies I just won't have seen. Husk, never seen it. Why do I feel like I've talked about these before? Shit. I so feel like I've talked about these before. Whatever. We're just gonna move on. I don't know why, but it very much so feels like I'm further down in the collection. I could have swore that was my last shelf by shelf video, though. Okay, that tears it. I need to go look through them and make sure, because I don't want to be retreading the same stuff. Okay, I'm totally goofing. I haven't done these before. I got a massive feeling of deja vu. I actually think what it was is I have technically recorded this video before, back when all my collection was over there, but I ended up having to delete it in order to edit a different video because I have very limited space on my phone. So that video never ended up getting released. So we're good. You guys haven't seen this part of the collection before. We're fine. Okay. Idle Hands. I've never seen this movie. I've heard it's great, though. And again, a lot of these movies I will just save to watch at a buddy's house. Because we do just marathon movies when I'm there. So. I'll Take Your Dead. I've never seen this one. I've gone to watch it a couple of times, but then I read the description on the back, and I'm like, that sounds like it's very vaguely horror. Not really what I'm in the mood for. So. Oh boy. Indigenous. It thinks it's a Descent ripoff with this cover art here, but it's not. I mean, it is, but it isn't. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. This movie sucks. Honestly, it's very slow. Hardly anything happens in this movie. Most of what this movie is douchey characters being douches. I don't like Indigenous. It's not a very good movie. Insidious. In case you guys don't know, which I don't think you would, because I don't think I've ever said this on here, but this is one of the scariest movies of all time to me, if not the scariest movie of all time. Just based on my first experience watching this movie, in which this movie did scare me shitless. Yeah, but I mean, Insidious, I was probably 13 when I watched this movie. I think I got this movie on my 13th birthday, and I had a buddy over and we watched it, and we were just scared out of our minds. So I have that's just a fantastic memory of watching this movie, but I do really love Insidious. Doesn't scare me as much anymore, but I don't know. I usually take scariness based on first watches, because scariness isn't a thing that stays around. When you watch a movie 5, 6, 7 times, scariness kind of gets depleted. So, Insidious Chapter 2, very good movie, very scary as well. I don't really like the time elements in this movie, how it's like the further has no concept of time. I don't really like that. I don't like it because it doesn't make any sense. That's just me, though. Insidious Chapter 3. Very good movie. Wasn't this one Lee Winnell? Yeah. Written, or no. Oh yeah, written and directed by Lee Winnell. So that's pretty cool. This movie is pretty good. It's not very scary like the first two, in my opinion, but it is pretty damn good. I think this movie's a win. Insidious the Last Key. This movie's okay. Honestly, it's kind of forgettable. I don't think I've seen this movie since theaters. It's got a really good jump scare in there that literally made me audibly yell, "Jesus Christ!" in the theater. And I'm very against talking in the theater and definitely yelling in the theater, but it was like a guttural response. Like, I really felt that my anus was in danger. That part in this movie is very, very good at startling you. Very good kind of jump scare. The Institute with James Franco. I know nothing about this movie. I've never seen this movie, but it does interest me. Looks like maybe some culty elements or something, but I don't know. Seems interesting enough. Intruders, I've never seen it. Oh, look at that. Intruders again. Never seen it. 2 movies called Intruders. Different movies. The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss. This was probably my favorite horror movie of 2020. That being said, not much came out in 2020. I can't really think of anything else that came out in 2020 that I liked more than this, unless I want to say Color Out of Space came out in 2019, but if it came out in 2020, then it blows this out of the water. But I don't know. The Invisible Man, it's pretty good. I don't know. It kind of disappoints me that that's my favorite movie of 2020, because, like, that's the most basic answer of all time, but it's just, like, I didn't see much in 2020, you know? Iron Wolf. I started watching this movie over at a buddy's house. It looks super cheap. It doesn't look like it's going to be a fun movie to watch at all. I may end up getting rid of this. I don't know. If I do, it'll be after I watch it fully, though. I'm not going to get rid of a film before I even see it. Isabel. This movie looks pretty shitty, not going to lie. But I got it at the Dollar Tree. So I'm just waiting for the day that I'm ready to watch it. A lot of these movies I watch just to watch, or I buy just to watch them. In which case, once I do watch them finally, I will end up getting rid of them. Just because, you know, a lot of these movies look quite crappy. And so if it does turn out to be a crappy movie, I probably won't keep it around. Unless it's a crappy movie that I enjoy. I Saw the Devil. This movie's a masterpiece. I talked about it more extensively on my latest video, Top 10 Dark and Nihilistic Horror Films, which goes through my personal favorite dark and nihilistic horror films. And by the way, in that video, I say dark and nihilistic a lot. I do that a lot. But, no, I don't talk about this movie there. Yes, I do. Don't listen to me. I'm pretty sure I do, though. Pretty sure this is in the top 10 of those. Yeah. Anyway, I love this movie. If you've never seen I Saw the Devil, do yourself a favor. This is one of the best foreign horror movies I've ever seen in my life. I Spit on Your Grave 3. I have 2 over there in the Blu-ray collection. This is by far the most accessible of the bunch because it's more so focused on her vengeance than it is people wronging her. And so that's, like, she basically becomes a vigilante in this movie. So, yeah, this is definitely the most accessible of the 3 films, or I guess of the 5 movies now. I haven't seen the original, and I haven't seen Deja Vu, but I imagine that it's more accessible than those 2 as well. It Chapter 2. Let me tell you a little story about It Chapter 2. I searched high and low for this movie on Blu-ray, and I could not find it. Could not find it at all. I don't know why. Like, I could barely find it on Amazon, but I was trying to find it, like, at Walmart or something, like in the wild. Could not do that. Couldn't do it. And then finally, I decide, okay, whatever. I copped out, and I bought this movie on DVD. Next thing I know, I'm in a Target and a Best Buy. I go to Target and Best Buy. I see It Chapter 2 in both of those damn places. Now, this Target and Best Buy is about an hour or so away from where I live. And we have a Walmart and like a couple different places closer to where I live where I could have possibly found this. But, yep, on Blu-ray. And I had already bought the DVD at that point. And now I just know that sooner or later I'm going to have to buy that Blu-ray. That pisses me off royally. Sometimes I swear it's just God hates me. It Follows. This is a movie that I actually have to get on Blu-ray too, but I'm not too mad about this one because I think I paid $3 for this. I really love this movie. Simple as that. This movie is utterly amazing. If you haven't seen It Follows, I highly recommend it. It is a slower film, so if you're not a fan of slow burn horror, then maybe don't watch It Follows, but I mean, if you are, it doesn't get much better than It Follows. Alright, and then last up here before I transition to the next part of the shelf there, which technically is a different shelf, but we'll call it the next part of the shelf, so as to avoid making a whole freaking video just for that one tiny section of the shelf that would end up being like 15 minutes long. But anyway, this is Jason Goes to Hell. I bought this at a thrift store. I bought it because it was the unrated version. I technically had this movie in a double feature previously, I ended up giving that double feature to my buddy, so now he has my Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X double feature, but that's because I ended up buying this, and then I have Jason X in a solo release up there. So anyway, I am going to turn the camera off for a sec, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I just had to get up there and grab the next shelf, which totally mind screwed me, because I was trying to figure out how I had them before to where I could stack them to the side and they wouldn't get all mixed up, and I had to figure it out quick because I didn't want the camera to turn off and then this to turn into a separate video, which I had to edit into the previous video because I already have 2 videos to edit together. It's probably going to turn into 3 because I'm going to guess that I'm going to run out of time. But whatever, let's not worry about that now. Jason X. Well, it was a pretty silly movie that I enjoy. That's really all I have to say about that one. It's just a silly good time. And I do own the Scream Factory box set. I don't know why I keep the DVDs around. I guess I like having them in my collection. I'm that weirdo. Jaws, again, I have the 4K of this. I don't know why I keep the DVD around. But anyway, it's a fantastic movie. I paid $5 for this at Walmart. So you can never go wrong there. And it was in the early years of my horror movie watching, so I wasn't really allowed to watch much, but I could get away with Jaws because it was PG. So that was great. But, yeah, Jaws is great. I gotta be really careful not to tip this over because this is a large stack. And Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. The guy that directed these is a big old pile of shit. And so are these movies. Not really. 1 is okay. 2 I never finished. I think I was too tired to finish it, and then I just didn't care to watch it. Ever, really. And then 3 is awful. I will say that. I hated Jeepers Creepers 3. Terrible film. Jigsaw, this isn't very good either, frankly. Not quite as bad as Jeepers Creepers 3, but still not good. John Carpenter 4-pack on this one. We have The Thing, Prince of Darkness, They Live, and Children of the Damned, the John Carpenter remake. Or is it Village of the Damned? It's Village of the Damned. Children of the Damned was the sequel to the original. But anyway, it's Village of the Damned. And, of course, The Thing is amazing. Prince of Darkness is very good. They Live is alright. I've never been a fan of They Live. It's a little too political for my taste. And then Village of the Damned is okay, honestly. I'm probably more likely to watch Village of the Damned again than I am They Live, if I'm being entirely honest. Village of the Damned, it's not a terrible movie. I'm pretty meh on most of those movies, other than The Thing. The Thing is fantastic, but the other 3, they're whatever. I do like Prince of Darkness a good amount more than the other 2, though. Joyride and Joyride 2. I used to own these. Oh, never mind. No, I didn't. I was going to say I used to own both of these on a solo release. I didn't. It was just Joyride 1. Joyride 2 is awful. Honestly, I have very little reason to own this double pack because I really like Joyride 1, but then Joyride 2 pisses me off. I remember the last time I watched Joyride 2, it was the first time I watched Joyride 2, and it just... Of course, I hadn't seen it when I bought this, but I yelled at the TV a lot. You gotta really piss me off as a movie for me to physically yell at the television. Caw? Never seen it. However, come on. How am I not gonna buy a movie called Caw? That's ridiculous. Oh, I don't like this. Oh no. I screwed up. Okay. Okay, I solved the issue, I think. Somehow I had unalphabetized the movies. Like, I don't even know how I did it. It wasn't even a matter of picking up a whole stack and putting it in the wrong order, because they were just, it was random movies placed randomly. It really pisses me off and gets under my skin when that happens. Because I just know that I'll be too fucking uncaring later to fix it. Anyway. The Killjoy series and the Scarecrow series. These are both basically the trilogies. I've seen Killjoy 1 and 2. I don't think I've seen 3. Maybe I have seen Killjoy 3. Killjoy 3 was actually decent. Killjoy 1 and 2 were pretty trash. Killjoy 2 was a little better than Killjoy 1, but Killjoy 1 sucked. And then Killjoy 3 was actually pretty decent, and I had a fun time with it. And then Scarecrow 1 and 2 are both subpar, crappy movies, but they're decently fun, I guess. And then Killjoy Goes to Hell. I've never seen it. I'm not a huge Killjoy guy, gotta be honest. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This movie I am huge on. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And yes, it is a horror movie. It's a horror comedy. Okay? Don't ever let anyone tell you it's not. But, yeah. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So fun. Oh, would you look at that? Another copy of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The reason I own this is because this is my first copy of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And then I ended up buying that Blu-ray, which I actually got at the Dollar Tree. And then I ended up buying that DVD at a pawn shop years after I bought this one. Like, that one I bought a couple of months ago, that DVD that I just showed. But I bought it mostly for the cover art. I thought it looked cool. I have a problem. I will buy movies just for alternate cover arts. I know, it's stupid, but... And then, you know, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Got this for $5 at Walmart. Long time ago. The Killing House. I got this at the Dollar Tree. I'm not expecting much. Killers Within. Got this at the Dollar Tree. Not expecting much. King Kong and Son of Kong. I've never seen Son of Kong. I have seen King Kong. I'm not a big, like, oversized monster guy. What do they call them in Japan? Kaijus? Something like that. I'm not a big oversized monster guy. So, anything like King Kong or Godzilla, I'm not that into. I have seen the original King Kong, but I'm not huge on that movie either. They're okay. King Kong triple pack. I bought this at the Dollar Tree. Comes with Peter Jackson's 2008 King Kong vs. Godzilla. Wait, that is... Yeah, King Kong vs. Godzilla. Sorry, guys. And then King Kong Escapes. I've never seen any of those movies, like I was saying. It's not a big... Actually, no, that's a lie. I've seen 2008's King Kong. I've seen that movie a couple of times. And then King Kong 1976. This is probably my favorite giant monster movie. I love this movie. It is super cheesy, and it is super fun. So yeah, this is my favorite giant monster movie, the 1976 King Kong movie, so that one's the best in my opinion. And then I have the King Kong 2008 remake on this edition, which I think this is some kind of extended cut as well. Yeah, so this is the extended cut of the film. I figure if I ever watch it again, I may as well watch the extended cut. Sorry, guys. Kings of Cult. This is still in its cellophane. I bought this at a thrift store a while ago, just because I don't know. I thought it might be kind of cool to open up and take a look at one day. Maybe when I'm a little more familiar with these guys' work, with Roger Corman and Charles Band, because I'll be honest, I haven't delved too deeply into like the Full Moon and like basically just Roger Corman movies. I don't think he owns a particular production company, does he? Or yeah, he owns Troma, correct? Or is that's Lloyd Kaufman. Never mind. I'm being stupid. So Roger Corman, yeah, he just produced a lot of movies. But I've never delved too deeply into them. Like, as far as Full Moon Pictures goes, you know, I've seen Killjoy, I've seen Scarecrow, I've seen most of the Puppet Master movies, not all of them. You know, I'm not a huge Full Moon guy, but I don't know, I figure one day this would be cool to watch. Krampus, this is an okay movie. It was an okay movie. Tell you what, though, this movie has a damn agenda. Politically, I mean. Just as far as the way some of its characters are portrayed. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. You know, one particular side of the aisle is portrayed as obnoxious, and the other particular side of the aisle is portrayed as, oh, it's just this nice, normal family. That part of it's annoying. But, yeah, Krampus was an alright movie. Krampus the Christmas Devil, this movie, on the other hand, is pretty garbage juice. Not gonna lie, I watched this movie this Christmas, and it's... yeah, this movie's pretty bad. It was good for a couple of laughs, though. And then we have Krampus the Christmas Devil 2, which is a thing for some reason. Again, I bought both these at the Dollar Tree, so I'm not that tore up about the fact they're terrible. Lake Fear. Speaking of movies that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I won't be too torn up if they're terrible. Lake Fear, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the Lake Fear movies, which I guess let's just get the other two out of the way. Lake Fear 2 and 3. I do want to watch these eventually. I enjoy the fact that I found an entire series of movies at the Dollar Tree. I don't know why, I just rather enjoy that. But I don't think that bodes well for the movies. Laid to Rest 2. I actually have two different copies of this movie. Oddly enough. I think I'll get rid of... oh yeah. See, this is my scratched up copy. So originally I bought this movie at a pawn shop. And it just kind of turned out that it was super scratched. But I didn't care because I really wanted to see the Laid to Rest movies. So I bought Laid to Rest 2 at the pawn shop. And it turned out it worked. It's just the movie's super scratched. And I feel like if I get any more nicks on that disc, I mean, it's so utterly scratched, I feel like the disc would just obliterate. Which is why when I found Laid to Rest 2 at a Dollar Tree not too long ago, I picked it up, and it's sitting on my shelf over there in my slasher movie section. So, Laid to Rest 2, I'll probably get rid of this one to save me a little bit of space, but George A. Romero's Land of the Dead. That's pretty good. They're pretty good. I think this was my first Romero movie that I ever saw. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, pretty sure. I don't think I had ever seen any other Romero movies, but I also think I've only seen it one time since. So, The Last Exorcism Part 2. I've never seen this movie. I saw the first one. I heard number 2 isn't great, but I found it at the Dollar Tree one day, and so I was like, I want to give it a shot. Especially since I saw Part 1, and it kind of left off on that cliffhanger, and, you know. Last House on the Left, I actually found this for $1 at a thrift store. It was, you know, the disc's kind of scratched, but it works. The film works. I do plan on buying the Arrow Blu-ray someday. I gotta get around to it. I have so many movies that I want to buy that I don't really prioritize double dips. Even if it's of a movie like Last House on the Left, where I could really use another copy. But I don't prioritize that sort of thing. Last House on the Left, 2009. I thought this movie was okay. In fact, it's a little better than okay. It's pretty good, but I like the 1972 one better. I think it's darker, and I do like it better. The dark tone and everything. The Last Showing. This was an okay movie. It's nothing fantastic, honestly. I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity here to make Robert Englund some kind of crazed movie projectionist that just goes around murdering people. But they made him play more of a Jigsaw-like mind game with him. And that's fine, but Lavalantula. I think I might have saw this movie like way back in the day when it first aired on the Sci-Fi Channel, but I don't remember it like at all. The Lazarus Effect. This is another movie. I rented this back in the day and I don't remember it very well. I remember it being not great, but I found it at a thrift store and I was like, I'll give it another shot. Leatherface. This movie's okay as like a standalone movie, but when you look at it as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, it's not that great, because what we know about Leatherface is very... It's not... This movie doesn't appeal to people who are basically fans of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, as far as who turns out to be Leatherface. Like, that is not the character of Leatherface that we know, and so it's very odd that Leatherface turns out being who he is. So yeah, I don't know. Feel like it's good for what it is, but it's not as good as it could have been, honestly. The Leprechaun Collection. I like most of these movies. I haven't seen Leprechaun Back to the Hood and Leprechaun Origins. I like all the ones that I've seen, though. I have heard that Leprechaun Origins doesn't actually have the leprechaun in it. It's some kind of mythical creature. I'm honestly interested in that, but yeah. All the other ones that I have seen, I'm actually a rather big fan of. I think those movies are hilarious, especially Leprechaun 4. I do love Leprechaun 4. I think that movie's hysterical. Anyway, Leprechaun Returns. This was a pretty good movie. Kind of a Halloween 2018 style film where they just retcon all the sequels and they're like, you know, here's a sequel to the original, and it works. I like this movie. Leprechaun's a little different from Warwick Davis, but It's okay. I like him. Lethal Dose. I've never seen it. It does say that it has Tom Hardy in it, though, so that's what kind of piqued my interest in that movie. Leviathan. There's a quote on the back here that says alien underwater. No, that's literally what this is. Yeah. It's literally alien underwater. This movie has the exact same storyline as Alien. Genuinely, I wonder how they got away with it. It's an Alien ripoff. Except set underwater. So, yeah. An interesting fact about this movie, though... Oh. I gotta transition. Alright, sorry guys. I was running out of time there. Anyway, an interesting fact about this movie, though, is it was directed by George P. Cosmatos, who is the father of someone named Panos Cosmatos, which the only reason I say this is an interesting fact is because I didn't know. I didn't know this until the other day, but Panos Cosmatos directed Mandy and another film called, like, something, The Eternal Black Rainbow. I don't know what that movie's called, but I plan on ordering that movie very soon because I love Mandy, but yeah, so that's the father of the director of Mandy directed this. So, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting, and I didn't know it up until recently, so. Life. This is kind of Alien, but more realistic, in a sense. So, this is an interesting movie. I've only ever seen it once, though. We're nearing the end here. Lights Out. This was a decent movie. It was nothing fantastic. It's just your average kind of modern ghost movie. It's fun, though. It is a really fun movie. Alright, The Little Shop of Horrors. I've never seen this one. I think this is the 1986 one, right? It's 86, this movie? Yep. 1986 one, with what's-his-face from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What is that son of a bitch's name? Rick Moranis. How do I forget that? The guy was in Spaceballs, but... This movie looks fun. I've never seen this one. I have seen the one from the 60s, from Roger Corman, but never seen this one. It interests me that it's a musical, though. I am interested in musical horror films. Musical anything else is kind of suck, but... Anyway, Look Away. This movie has like a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. How? Just how? I know Lee McCoy from Drum Dums was reviewing this film, and he said that he really enjoyed it as well. And it was funny because I had just watched it like a few nights prior to him posting that review, and I watched his review and I'm like, oh, well, thank God, I'm not crazy. Like, this is a good movie. But, I mean, all the critic websites, like Rotten Tomatoes, I think this has a pretty low score on IMDb. Like, it's crazy to me. This has such a low score because it is such a good movie. I mean, it is genuinely good. If you've never seen Look Away, I really, really recommend it. It's a very cool film. Lord of Illusions. This movie's okay. I don't know. It's weird. It's Clive Barker. It's your typical weird Clive Barker shit. It's Hellraiser-esque sort of thing. It's okay, in my opinion. Nothing fantastic. Lost Creek. I don't know anything about this movie. It's funny, I looked it up though a while ago and it said it was rated TV PG. So I think I bought it at the Dollar Tree. So I didn't know anything about it, but I guess I bought a children's horror film. So that's interesting. I do want to watch that eventually and just see, just kind of see how it goes. How good or bad it is. The Lost Boys. It's funny, I remember I used to see this movie at the local thrift store all the time. This exact copy. And I would put off buying it because I thought that cover looked stupid. You know, I essentially was thinking it was going to be like Twilight 2.0. Or technically Twilight 1.0, because it came out years before Twilight. Decades even, but I finally bought it. I guess it was because there was nothing else to buy in the thrift store, and so I finally bought The Lost Boys. And mind you, I had heard that this movie was good. It's just, I guess I didn't fully believe it, but I ended up buying it. And it ended up becoming like my favorite vampire movie of all time. I love this movie. That'll teach you to never judge a book by the cover, because The Lost Boys is utterly fantastic. Maggie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I remember this movie being pretty good. I haven't seen it in a very long time. I want to say I was like 14 or so. Yeah, it came out in 2014. So it was probably 14 or 15 when I first saw this film, because I remember renting it the first time I saw it. Anyway, Malicious. This was an okay movie. It gets pretty dark if I remember correctly, but it's alright. I don't think it's as good as it could have been. Creepy at parts, though. Martyrs. This movie's a masterpiece. I really don't know what else I have to say about this movie. Seriously, if you've never seen Martyrs, one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen, but, I mean, by far, it's incredible. So if you've never seen Martyrs, definitely give it a watch. Not the 2016 one. I've heard that's watered down. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I have very little interest in actually ever checking that movie out. Maybe if it ever pops up on like Hulu or Netflix or something, then maybe I'll check the remake out. But the original is fantastic. 2008 one. Meatball Machine. This movie's strange, man. This movie is very strange. I found this at a thrift store. Can you believe that? In the middle of nowhere, just find Meatball Machine at a thrift store. That's pretty fantastic. I mean, I have a town of like 2,000 people. This is not a town of culture, okay? But yet, Meatball Machine is something I found at a local thrift store, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, this movie's really interesting. I recommend checking it out. And then this is the last one. Mega Shark Collection, which comes with Toxic Shark, Shark in Venice, which I bought Shark in Venice. It's somewhere up there. I bought it before I ever found this. Malibu Shark Attack, Sharkman, Shark Attack 2, Shark Attack 3, and Shark Zone. Lots of shark movies, in case you couldn't tell. I am a fan of the crappy shark movie. I am quite the connoisseur, if I'm being entirely honest. But yeah, it's all right. You know, I'm sure these movies will be fine. I don't really expect much, which is why I said it's alright. Like, I'm sure they'll be meh, probably. Most of these crappy shark movies don't quite succeed in the level of lunacy needed to be a great crappy shark movie. But I don't know. I'm willing to give it a try, and that was $1. So I mean, realistically, it's not gonna break the bank for me to give that movie a try. You know what I mean? So. All right, that is another shelf down. By shelf, I mean shelf and a quarter. The next time it's just going to be one shelf, so it'll be a bit of a shorter video. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I will catch you on the next one.